Hey, hello. I pray that everybody's doing well. I'm back again. Truth Talk with Mr. JR. Listen, some of you may know about Congressman Byron Donalds out of Florida, his controversial comments about Jim Crow and the black family. Listen, I wanted to weigh in on it. It's something that I think this subject needs clarity and it needs the truth. Because the one thing my objective was True Talk with Mr. JR is to bring the truth, not opinions, not innuendo, but the truth. But let us go in prayer right quick. Father, I thank you again for this platform, the opportunity to bring some information that will be informative, motivational, and I thank you. This I pray in Jesus' name. Listen, let's get right into it. I want you to hear some of his comments during the interview he had with my sister, Joy Reid.
Our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of black families.
The reinvigoration of black family. My brother says, quiet as it kept, the black family is still together. Do we have some issues like other communities? We do. But in spite of everything that we've gone through, going all the way back to slavery, we're still together. Unfortunately, we got some broken families, or what you would call family, single parent homes, but we're still together. We're still trying to make it in spite of everything that we're going through.
With younger black men and black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a black middle class in America. You see, during Jim Crow,
the revival of a black middle class. I don't know about you, I have not seen it. We do have a certain number of people that in our community that are living in middle class, the middle class life, middle class communities. But far too many of us are still living in poverty. Far too many of us are still living in segregated communities. And there's still a disparity when it comes to housing and wealth. So we still have a long way to go.
During Jim Crow, the black family was together.
Here we go. You heard it. During Jim Crow, the black family was together. My point is, why shouldn't they be together? But let's be clear, my brothers and sisters. Outside of slavery, Jim Crow was the worst period of time in our life. There's enough books out here. There's enough data out here to confirm it. In fact, you can get a lot of information through a simple Google search.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative-minded.
Okay, now some aspects I agree with that. Many black people have always been conservative-minded when it comes to morals and values and principles. There are certain things that we believe in. We're a God-fearing people. We're a people that have attended church going all the way back to slavery. So in some ways, we are conservative, but not when it comes to politics. We talk about morals and values.
But more black people voted conservatively. And then...
Now, first of all, after Reconstruction, the black code laws were enforced. Jim Crow laws were enforced. What does that mean? That means black people could not vote. Okay? So how can we vote conservatively when we could not vote? Come on, Byron. You got to do a little reading, my brother, a little research. Now, I will say this. During Reconstruction, there was X amount of black men who were allowed to run for office. And black men, a small percentage, were able to vote. And they did vote for the Republican Party. But let's be clear, the reason they voted for the Republican Party is because of Abraham Lincoln. And many of them were illiterate. Many of them were not socially conscious. There was no information available because they associated their freedom with Abraham Lincoln. But guess what? After Reconstruction, the Republican Party abandoned them and became a party of big business. So during that time, black people started going towards the Democratic Party under Franklin Delano Roosevelt because of the New Deal. But for the most part, we still could not vote. But because of the New Deal, black people started being more partial to the Democratic Party. Let's be clear.
H.E.W., Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America?
Okay. Let me get a little background on Jim Crow. Separate Car Act 1890 requires separate seating for whites and blacks on interstate carriers, buses, and trains. Some of you all may have heard of Plessy versus Ferguson, which upheld the Separate Car Act. Throughout the country, Jim Crow segregation laws expanded segregation into nearly every aspect of black citizen life. It was just a fact. We had to deal with Jim Crow, and it impacted us all. Until the 1950s, lynch mobs and the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, committed acts of terrorism against black communities to reinforce Jim Crow laws. I'm sure you heard of Black Wall Street, Rosewood. Black thriving communities were destroyed during Jim Crow. And I'm sure you heard of Emmett Till, who was literally taken out of his uncle's house and lynched. Let's deal with some of the effects of Jim Crow. Restrictions imposed by black codes made it hard for formerly enslaved people to gain economic independence. Segregated facilities on all public transportation carriers made it more difficult for black people to travel. And we all know about the Montgomery bus boycott, where Dr. King and others boycotted for us to have the right to sit anywhere on the bus. The separate but equal doctrine resulted in inferior facilities for blacks, ranging from schools to housing to employment. Black children had limited opportunities compared to white children. And if you look at our schools today, for the most part, they're still segregated. Predominantly black schools are still underfunded, overcrowded, and understaffed. Jim Crow laws made it difficult or impossible for black citizens to vote, be elected to office, serve on juries, or participate as equals in the economic or social life of their area. And that's still going on. There is still a disparity. Byron, you got to do a little research, my brother. The information is available.
Last 10 years, and I say because it's my contemporaries as well as his contemporaries, you're starting to see more black people being married in homes, raising kids.
Now let me deal with this married thing. Listen, during Jim Crow, black women didn't have a lot of options. That's when it comes to working and even going to school. So consequently, many of them got married. Not all of them, but many of them got married. And of course, many of them stayed home and raised the children in many cases, while the black man, if he could, went out and got a job to take care of his family. Now, Byron, I know what you're doing, my brother. Black people are now different than any other group. Why wouldn't black families be together? They were trying to make it, especially during Jim Crow. It was very difficult. You don't have to have a degree in history or political science to see what was going on for African Americans during Jim Crow.
It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, oh, wait a minute, time out. This does not look right.
Being at home with your wife and your kids. Quiet as it's kept, Byron. A lot of black men are married to their wives and are taking care of their kids. In fact, there was a study done not too long ago that showed black fathers or more involved in the lives of their children just as much as any other group. But I know what you're trying to do. Try to slide it in. Lyndon Baines Johnson's New Deal, social program. What you're trying to do, Byron, is say it was the social programs that broke up the black family. And that's not an accurate statement. Did it impact it with a no father in the home clause, which prevented black families from getting government benefits? It played a role. So instead of allowing black families to get help from the federal government, they required that the father not be in the home, and then did contribute. But the main thing is structural, institutional racism, Byron. That's what really destroyed the black family, because black men have always wanted to work. And let's be clear, how can a black man take care of his family during Jim Crow? A black man could be taken out of his home and murdered. Medgar Evers, a civil rights giant, was murdered by a racist, a segregationist in front of his home, and his family was there. There have been numerous stories during Jim Crow where black men were lynched, taken out of their homes, and with nothing they could do. Absolutely nothing they could do. And I have to give credit to those who lived during those times. Traveling in the South was dangerous. It was dangerous. Looking at a white woman can get you killed. If a white woman made an accusation about you, if the Lord went with you, you were dead. So how can you say that a black man could take care of his family during those turbulent times? It makes absolutely no sense.
How can I get something to my kids? It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth.
I am joined now by Florida Republican.
Generational wealth. Byron, we could have had generational wealth if those black veterans were allowed to take advantage of the GI Bill. That's how most people build their wealth. They become homeowners, and they can pass that property on to their children. They can get loans for education, loans to build a business. But guess what? Because of racism, we were not allowed to generate wealth. And Byron, game recognizes game, my brother. See, Republicans like to shift responsibility from the government to individuals. That's what you all like to preach. It's all about individualism, working hard, pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps. My brother, I'm hip to the grift game. It's sad that you feel the need to do that. It really is. Let me share a couple other things. I don't know if you're familiar with Senator Edward Brooke, who said in 1967, the Negro was evicted from the Republican Party. And let me tell you what Jackie Robinson, who was quoted as saying, he felt like a soldier in Hitler's army while he was a Republican. But that's the party that you associate with. And I know, my brother, the reason that you're trying to explain, give clarity to your words, because you got a lot of pushback. Because what you said was wrong. You didn't have to do that, my brother. Just tell the truth. And if you don't know, don't say it. You invoked Jim Crow. It was offensive and uninformed. Because if you don't know, do not invoke Jim Crow. Because most African Americans that know about Jim Crow, they would tell you that was arguably the worst period in the lives of African Americans. Let's be clear. And I know it's intoxicating to be a black man that is improved by those on the right. And I know you want to be the vice president for Donald J. But I'm here to tell you, my brother, I don't think you're going to get that position. But I understand why. It's a game. But it's a game we don't have to play in 2024. Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, W.B. Du Bois, And of course, Dr. King, they fought for us to be free in our thinking. We are no longer in physical bondage, and we don't have to be in mental bondage. But listen, I just want to put that information out there. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and please share this video. I'm going ahead and end in prayer. Father, I thank you for another opportunity to bring some information that would be beneficial and informative. And again, I thank you for this platform. And I pray, God, as many has an opportunity to watch the video will benefit from it. This I pray in Jesus' name. My brothers, we have to be critical thinkers. We don't have the luxury to not. We have to look at information, call it out, and be critical. And please share the video. I'm trying to build up this channel. I just want to give an opinion from a Christian perspective. Because even as Christians, we need to know what's going on in our community. Even those who claim to be a part of our community, we need to call them out, tell the truth. And also, please subscribe to Legacy by Reading. There are numerous videos which I think will benefit you. In the meantime, stay up and stay informed. God bless you.